Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a communication framework that elite McKinsey consultants use, a system that's literally designed to make every single thing you say land with impact. Let's dive right in.
You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting, you've got this brilliant idea, you explain it with all this passion, and you just get blank stares. Or, maybe even worse, a polite little nod, and then the conversation just moves on. It's unbelievably frustrating. Well, that feeling has a name. We can call it the communication gap. It's that empty space between the amazing idea in your head and how it actually lands with other people. The hard truth is, the best idea in the world is completely useless if it gets lost in translation. And that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today.
But what if you could actually close that gap? I mean, what if there was a repeatable, learnable system that could make sure your ideas aren't just heard, but are actually understood, remembered, and most importantly, acted on? Well, that system totally exists, and we're about to break it down. It's called the EPIC framework. Seriously, this is like the secret weapon for turning your communications from forgettable to genuinely influential. It's a really simple 4-part structure you can apply to pretty much any conversation, email, or presentation you ever have to give.
So, EPIC. It stands for empathy, purpose, insight, and conversation. Each of these steps builds on the one before it, creating this really powerful foundation for communication that truly connects. Let's break down each one.
Okay, so everything kicks off with E for empathy. This is the first step, and it is absolutely crucial, but it's the one most people just skip right over. And when you skip empathy, you're basically just talking to yourself. Before you even think about what you want to say, you have to understand your audience. What do they care about? What are their biggest headaches? What's really on their mind? Now, empathy isn't some vague, fluffy feeling. It's a skill, and you can practice it through active listening. So instead of asking, "Do you like the new software?" ask an open-ended question like, "What are your biggest concerns about this new software rollout?" Then validate what they say with something like, "Yeah, I can totally see how that part of the process would be frustrating." You're building a bridge of understanding before you even pitch your idea.
Once you get where your audience is coming from, you can move on to P for purpose. And here's the key. This can't just be your purpose. It has to be a shared purpose. You've got to frame the goal in a way that shows them what's in it for them. A really great way to think about it is to ask yourself, by the end of this conversation, what do we want to achieve together?
Okay, so you've connected with empathy, you've established a shared purpose, great. Now, how do you actually build a message that will achieve that purpose? This is where we get to the I for insight.
The number one tool here is the pyramid principle. Now, most people build up to their conclusion, right? They give you lots of data and arguments, and then finally, they reveal their main point. The pyramid principle says, flip that completely upside down. You start with your single most important message. That's the very top of the pyramid. Then, and only then, do you bring in the supporting arguments and data. Think of it like a news headline. It gives you the main idea right away, so your audience knows exactly why they should keep listening.
And this brings us to the absolute key to a powerful message. See, it's not enough to just list a bunch of facts. Anybody can do that. Your job is to connect the dots and explain what all those facts mean. You have to provide the so what. That's the insight that your audience can't see on their own. Let's look at a really clear example. Summarizing is just listing the problems. Long lines, slow programs, inconvenient returns. It's just raw data. Synthesizing, on the other hand, is taking those facts and creating a powerful insight. It's saying, our customers are looking for a faster, more seamless in-store experience. The difference is just massive. One is a list of problems, the other is a strategic insight that points you directly to a solution.
So, you've understood your audience, you've got a shared purpose, and you've crafted this powerful synthesized message. Now it's time to bring it all home. This takes us to the C for conversation. The big idea here is to see every communication, even a presentation, not as a monologue, but as a real conversation.
Your delivery really comes down to 3 core elements. The first is your physical presence. This is all your nonverbal stuff. Standing tall, making direct eye contact, using gestures that actually back up your words, all these things project confidence and make you more credible. Just think about how a leader can command a room simply by the way they stand. That's the power of presence.
Second up is your vocal emphasis. Your voice is an instrument, you know? You can speed up to build excitement, you can lower your volume to drop people in, and you can use a strategic pause to let a really important point sink in. And try to avoid weak little qualifiers like, I kinda think. Instead, use a strong, active voice that just radiates conviction. And finally, the third element is emotional connection. This is really about just being human. So instead of only presenting data on customer churn, maybe you share a quick, anonymous story about a frustrated customer and how their experience really highlights why a change is needed. That's what turns a dry presentation into a memorable experience that actually inspires people to act.
So there you have it. Empathy, purpose, insight, and conversation. This isn't just some abstract theory. It is a practical toolkit that you can start using, like, right now. Let's do a quick recap of the key takeaways.
First, always plan your interactions using the EPIC framework. Always start with empathy to understand your audience and then define that shared purpose. Next, structure your message with the pyramid principle, main point first. And remember, you're not giving a speech, you're trying to facilitate a conversation. And finally, work on mastering your delivery by focusing on your physical presence, your voice, and that all-important emotional connection.
So the real question for you is, how are you going to make your next conversation epic? Think about that upcoming presentation you have, or maybe that difficult conversation you've been kind of putting off. How can you use this framework to not just be heard, but to really truly make an impact?
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and at the end of the video, you'll see the mask logo. Click it to support the channel even more.